Good Saturday morning. I'm KHOU meteorologist Chris Ramirez. We are starting off mostly sunny and clear and quiet here across southeast Texas, and we are expecting warm and humid conditions once again today, of course, but we are also tracking some downpours later on today. As we look at our weather headlines, a few afternoon storms definitely possible. We have lower chances of rain on Sunday, and then we're going to be tracking this high pressure system that's going to end our rain chance. Finally, a week that we're not going to see these evening afternoon storms across southeast Texas. And so as we head into the next several hours, we are starting our temperatures off into the lower 80s. As we go into looking at those feels like temps, it's already feeling like 90 degrees out there. So if you are spending time out and about for today, just keep in mind that the heat, the humidity, practice those heat safety measures, look before you walk. Wear light colored clothing because it is going to be warm. As you look at the next 12 hours, high temps are going to be in the 90s, at least by the noon hour. And then ultimately, we're going to see about 92, 93 degrees for those afternoon highs, especially across our area. So if you are heading out across town, 93 for East End, 89 at Woodgate, Copperfield at 91. Areas northwest of town, 96 for Tomball, 93 in Atascocita. So areas are going to be mostly just warm and humid for today. So look at radar right now. Mostly quiet here across Houston, but we're still looking at some isolated shower just offshore. There's also a few isolated showers that are just to the north of the I-10 corridor. And so as we look at our future track, we are expecting those evening downpours to flare up once again for today. It's going to be very isolated in nature, so don't be surprised if we see one of those downpours that could bring some wet roadways and some hazardous road conditions that move through town. It's looking more likely this afternoon that most of that rain activity is going to be north of I-10. That's going to last at least between 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Eventually by 5, 6 o'clock, we're going to see those conditions clear on out, as well as becoming quiet and calm for overnight conditions. So as we look at the weather pattern, we have this high pressure system building in closer towards Texas. That is going to really limit the rain chance for next week. It's also going to be responsible for causing our temperatures to start ramping up into the upper 90s. So eventually we're going to continue to see those maybe 97, 98, but feels like temps ranging between maybe 100, 102 degrees when you factor in that humidity. So a hot and humid outlook expected to be in the picture for next week. So as you look at that temperature snapshot, especially across Texas, expecting those typical summertime conditions like we usually see for the months of July and August. 98 for Houston if you're out towards San Antonio, mostly upper 90s all across the board for much of the state. The only place that's dealing with triple digit temps is going to be Eagle Pass and areas just the west of San Antonio. And so upper 90s, a fairly quiet week expected, which is good news, giving us a break from that rain chance, but also we are still tracking the return of some possible showers that are going to be moving in once this high pressure system starts breaking down by the end of next week. So be on the lookout for a few of those showers that could be along the Gulf Coast, especially as we head into Thursday and Friday of next week. So there's a little bit of a rain chance once again. As far as the tropics, that disturbance that we were tracking the past couple of days, it has fizzled out into nothing. But also there's a new area that the National Hurricane Center has highlighted. This is pretty far out, basically just north of South America. That's a 20% chance of development within the next 2 days. I think that anything that's in that region really, we're just going to have to watch that pretty closely, but I don't think that's going to be affecting us here across the U.S. for the most part. We still have plumes of dust over the Atlantic that's actually right behind that system, and so that really could tear that system apart as that next plume will be moving on in. So as we look at that temperature outlook, it's more than likely that we're going to be looking at above average temperatures for towards the end of July. So usually for Houston around this time of year, high temps are about 95 degrees, but we're going to see upper 90 degree temps. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually get up to closer to triple digit temps, especially as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday of this coming week. So as far as your 7-day forecast, we are still going to see that isolated downpour potential for this afternoon, but then starting tomorrow, rain chances in. We're going to have a mostly quiet week. I think if you have any pool plans, being out by the pool or maybe going to the coast, I think it's going to be a perfect week to do that because we're expecting mostly sunny skies and highs in the upper 90s. We're not going to really see that rain chance once again return until we head into Thursday and Friday of this coming week. So definitely expecting a calmer outlook, even though we can't rule out maybe a shower or two as we head into those afternoon hours. So if you're just now joining the stream, definitely expecting a quiet day today here across Houston with the typical afternoon showers and storms expected going to the afternoon hours. So we're starting our temperatures out in the 80s. Feels like temps already feeling like 90 degrees out there. So definitely keep in mind that as we look at our weather headlines, still expect some afternoon storms. Temps will be ramping up heading into next week, but we are expecting those highs to be in the 90s with those showers and storms likely to be moving in between 2:30 and 4 p.m. That's the time that we usually have been seeing these sea breeze showers and storms that have been just encompassing us for the past few weeks. Highs in the 90s. It's going to be fairly hot and humid. Copperfield at 91, Bel Air at 94, 95 at Allendale, Aldine at 87 degrees. Areas mostly to the west of Houston, likely to see upper 90-degree temps. Conroe 95, Huntsville 96 degrees. Radar's looking a little bit quiet here across Houston. There is a couple of offshore showers that are just off the coast of Galveston, but just keep in mind that that's just giving us a sign that the atmosphere is still a bit unstable and that we could still see those downpours later on today. And that's what our future track model is showing, that we could start seeing these downpours moving in around 2 p.m. So be on the lookout for that we still do have a rain chance today, even though we're starting off mostly quiet here across the Houston area. So, and then eventually by 6, 7 o'clock, things will be diminishing. We're going to have a quiet night, overnight lows dropping into the lower 80s. But as we look at the weather pattern, we're tracking this high pressure system that's going to be building in over Texas, and that is going to keep things mostly quiet, but it's also going to ramp up those temperatures as we head into the end of, or towards the start, or for the first half of our week. So highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s and 80s, and it's going to be getting up to about 96, 97 degrees. So I think it's going to be a perfect day to be by the pool, but make sure to practice that lightning safety if you do see one of these lone isolated downpours that might have some lightning with this. If you hear thunder, go indoors. Especially make sure to teach the kids that, as well as we've already seen some very dangerous lightning storms with these storms that have been moving through, not only for us here across Houston, but across the country as well. So the next few days, mostly quiet for the week, but then isolated showers will once again return. Models are showing a little bit of unsettled weather over Florida by Thursday and Friday. We're going to have to watch that system pretty closely, because when it comes to this unsettled weather over the Gulf, that really does have a slight potential to maybe want to form into something. So that's what the models are hinting at the current moment. But of course, it's too early to tell whether or not that system or that unsettled weather is going to form into anything in terms of the tropics. So, but we're watching that pretty closely. But so far, we're going to be mostly quiet for this week, but we just can't forget that we are in hurricane season, and it doesn't take much to spawn any tropical disturbance across the Gulf, especially as we are dealing with warmer waters across the Gulf as well. So showers returning by Thursday and Friday, but we are expecting the National Hurricane Center is highlighted an area pretty far out in the Atlantic over South America with a 20% chance of development within the next 2 days. That's pretty far away from Houston. It's more than likely that we won't be affected by this system because there is some Saharan dust that will be moving in right behind it that really does a great job at tearing that system apart, especially as we look at the rest of the tropics in terms of that as well. But the only thing we're going to have to worry about is afternoon downpours for today, but then the return of the heat, the typical Houston July that usually happens every other July here across the Houston area. Just hot, humid conditions once again returning. Highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s, and we are expecting mostly just calm conditions for the first half of our day, but we're going to expect a calmer week as well. Finally, we're going to have a week that we're not going to have to deal with these pesky afternoon downpours that we've been dealing with. But the good news, though, is that those downpours were actually keeping temperatures cooler. Now we're not going to have that. Y'all got y'all's wish. But temps are going to be in the upper 90s as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, you can catch our KHOU 11 newscast starting at 9 a.m. Of course, myself along with anchor Trayson Bragg will be giving you the latest news, weather, headlines as we head into the next maybe hour or so. That's going to be about an hour if you are joining us. And you can catch the latest weather updates on KHOU.com and on the KHOU 11 app.